Welcome to It's Happening in Grand Prairie. I'm Georgia Clemson, and we have the greatest show for you today. We have one of your favorite guests, and our favorite guest, mine as well, is Mayor Ron Jensen. Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem. It's a great morning. The sun's out. It's a pretty morning.
It is a great day, and it's always a great day when we get to have you on the show.
Well, thank you.
Our viewers love to hear from you, and you always have something very meaningful to tell us. And tell us why you're actually here in the studio today.
Well, we had an very unfortunate thing happen to our council in the last few weeks, and that's the loss of Jim Swafford. And before that, the loss of Judy Swafford. And you know, Georgia, it's not just the council members that we get a relationship with. We get a relationship with their spouses because we attend so many things together. And Judy and Jim were a couple, as you and Dan are, that come to a lot of things together. So Rebecca and I got to be very close with Judy through the years too. And of course, I spent a lot more time with Jim, known him over 40 years, so it was a devastating loss.
Yes, indeed, for all of us and for the whole city. I've been very impressed to see the comments on social media, and Dan showed me some on LinkedIn, that he made such an impact on our city and to so many.
He did. He wasn't just a council member.
Right.
He was on the school board with Dan.
Yes.
Years ago, back in the late 70s and early 80s, I believe. And just, he lent his skills to a lot of nonprofits.
He did.
Through the years. I was in Rotary with him. He was my banker. I played golf with him, played racquetball with him.
Quality of Life.
Quality of Life Foundation. His grandson works for me. It's just, Jim's been part of my life for over 40 years.
Yes. I can relate to that because, as you said, he and Dan served together on the school board, and also my dad and he served as on bank board together.
Well, of course they did, yes. And of course that's where I first met Jim, through Rotary and as our banker over 40 years ago. So, and that was long before. And then I knew him as a council member, but that was before I even got involved in the council. He was elected in 1998. I was elected in 2002. So he was a special man. Renee and Robert, I'm glad they got to participate in our council meeting Tuesday night. And what a nice slideshow. My favorite was the one of your mother, Jim, and Mr. Hanks. And I sent that to Janie yesterday.
Oh, that was a very meaningful one to me as well. And the whole slideshow presentation was very good.
It was tough on me because the slideshow was on the screen and I was reading a script because there was so much for me to say about Jim, but I would look up there as best I could.
Right.
And Rebecca was back over in my corner in my office watching it, and we both really enjoyed the slideshow and watched it later that night when we got home, just so we could see the whole thing. Very, very great slideshow.
Yes, and it was just a glimpse of what he has participated in. It was very meaningful, inspiring, but he was involved in so many things, and I'm sure we'll realize that as the days go on.
Well, another thing that people may not be aware of, he was on the Methodist Hospital Board for years and finance chair from time to time on it, and that's the big board. That's the big board, Methodist Central, you know. Each one of them have their own little boards for their different locations, but this was the big kahuna, you know. So Jim was well respected. You know this. We, as a council, looked to him and your committee for everything financial. And Jim, from my time being on the finance committee, always came in prepared. He would look at the data, so it gave us an assurance that things were looked at, the pockets of money were correct. Our staff does a great job.
Oh, yes.
But we're there for a reason. And we have a fiduciary responsibility, and we review what staff gives us, and Jim was so good at that. And you and Greg, we'll keep that going, even without Jim in the coming years as on the finance committee.
Yes, he was a great mentor, and I really considered him pretty much a financial genius.
Well, he had years and years of service in that, and you know, we always we're in executive session many times, and we would look to Jim to go over the data, to be blunt with it, and to look at the background checks and to do the backgrounds and to call them and all that, because we knew he would be thorough with it. So we all relied on Jim Swafford an awful lot.
Absolutely. In fact, as we had our comments on the Finance Committee regarding him, I mentioned that he was my phone-a-friend. When I had a question, I would phone Jim and ask him, and he was such a fabulous resource for that. And then also I mentioned the fact, and you mentioned this in our meeting as well, I always loved it when he would forget to turn off his phone.
That's right.
And we would get to hear the Texas fight song.
See, for those of you who don't know, I mean, we all get along real well together on the council. There's 9 of us, but sometimes when you're in executive session, since no one else is there, you'll say a few more. And Jim, as long as Jim and I knew us in executive session, he'd still come after me sometimes. I'd go after him. And we'd be at a tense moment or something, back even when Charlie was mayor, and I would on purpose call Jim because he would forget to silence his phone, and it'd start with the Texas fight song, and it kind of cut the edge a little bit, and we'd all get a laugh at it and then get back to business. But we'll all remember that about Jim, is the fight song, and there are many things. Many things
indeed, and you know, our hearts do go out to Robert and Renee. Because as you said, of course we have our own families and our church families, but this is our city family. And their spouses and their families mean so much to us, and our hearts hurt for them.
I think that's one of the toughest things for people to understand, how the 9 of us, no matter, even when you get a new one, once they're in, they're family to us. We really do care for each other. We respect each other's individual takes on different things. And at the end of the day, we walk out of the room together.
That's
and
right.
we do consider it, because we spend an awful lot of time together. We do, folks. There's meetings, there's just an awful lot of time together.
Yes.
And we get to where we trust each other and respect, mutual respect. And it is kind of like part of family.
It is, and personally, I am very thankful for the time that I got to spend with him on the council. And of course, prior to that my mother had that relationship with him as well. And we've already talked about my dad and Dan, and I know that those relationships and memories will always be very special to us, and his contributions to the city are just remarkable.
They are. And those of you who don't know, he graduated from Arlington High School, and one of his dear friends from Arlington High School is a former council member over in Arlington. She called me a couple of weeks ago and just how devastated that community is, his alumni from Arlington, because they all loved and respected him. And that's the way it was in the whole DFW Metroplex. He was well known in Dallas from being on the hospital board, well known in Arlington from being a graduate at Arlington High School, and certainly been here the rest of it for so long, well respected in the city of Grand Prairie.
He was, for sure. And I love the way he would always say, well, actually, I went to Arlington High, but I got to Grand Prairie as soon as I could.
Yes, and he loved Grand Prairie.
He did.
And he and Judy were married, oh goodness, over 50 years. I don't want to misspeak, but it seems like it was maybe 57 years. And they were just a blessing to our community. And of course, again, Robert and Renee know how special he and Judy were to their family, and they will miss him, but they also feel so honored that the outpouring of support and love that has been shown for Jim and their family and Judy has helped them a lot. And it was so good to hear their comments Tuesday night.
Yes, and Mayor, we appreciate your being here to give this tribute and salute to our longtime friend, Jim Swafford.
And if I could add, for Robert and Renee's, out of respect to them, and out of respect to Jim and Judy, folks, let's be careful. This is a serious pandemic. Jim and Judy both died from complications from COVID. We just lost 2 GPISD teacher and a coach to COVID. Wear your mask, be careful, socially distance. Just because the vaccine has started being given out now doesn't mean this is over. Most of us won't even be able to get the vaccine for months. So let's all be careful. I don't want it. You don't want it.
Very wise words. Thank you again, Mayor, for being here. We appreciate you and God bless you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Habari gani? Jina langu ni Frank Obudo. Natoka Nairobi, Kenya.
Oi, meu nome é Marcos e eu sou brasileiro.
Hello, my name's Samantha. I'm a veteran and a mother.
Xin chào, tôi tên là Thái và tôi đến từ Việt Nam.
Hello, I'm Brandon, and I sang opera professionally.
Hi, my name is Robert, and I play pro football. And I am a Grand Prairie police officer.
And I'm 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 Daniel Cesney, father, Marine Corps veteran, and Grand Prairie police chief. And like all Grand Prairie police officers, one with our community.
Welcome back. And welcome to our very next guest, and the first time in our studio, the MVP of GPISD, our Superintendent, Linda Ellis. Welcome.
Thank you, Councilwoman Clemson. It's my honor to be here. I saw the email, I opened it, I got the opportunity to be here, and I thought, well, this is a true honor. I appreciate the time with you, and I'm always eager to talk about our staff and the great things that are happening in Grand Prairie ISD.
Yes.
So thank you.
You are certainly welcome, and we're so glad to have you. And actually, we know that we're all going through a very tough time, struggles, yes, changes, but it especially is hard for educators and difficult. And I know that you have an update to give us about what's going on.
Absolutely. I have never seen a group of people step up and be heroes for children like our staff in Grand Prairie ISD. Our teachers, the things that they're doing every day, and if you speak to any, they'll tell you this, and it's absolute true. As I walk through campuses, I see that teachers are planning for the children in front of them, in the classroom, looking at them every day, but they're also planning for this group of children that are learning virtually from home. And so they're trying to keep this group focused, and then they're keeping this group focused, and as they move around the room, they're making it to where the children that are learning virtually can see what the children in the room are doing, and it is simply amazing. I mean, even the smallest thing, as far as recognizing if a child is on track or not on track, we grew up, we understand in education, you step over and you watch and you immediately interact, and they've lost that. And so taking the extra time to prepare for those types of things has been something that has just been, number one, an overwhelming task, but a task that our teachers have stepped up to and done an amazing job. And I begin speaking about teachers, but it isn't fair for me to leave out the other heroes. And our bus drivers, the 180 bus drivers that are out there every day, loading our children, making them socially distant as much as they can. And quite frankly, the bus driver is the first person that sees our children.
Yes.
It's the first kind experience that they may have on their way to school. Mm-hmm. And so what they do, what our child nutrition workers are doing, what our nurses are doing, it is simply, they're heroes. They're heroes.
And all of this is made possible because you have a very supportive board, don't you?
Absolutely. I got to tell you, we were positioned well to go into something as terrible as this pandemic. And it goes back to those bold actions from our board. And it goes back, I'm going to go back to 2015 when the board said, our priority is to have a registered nurse at every campus. I can't even imagine what our days would be like today without those registered nurses at every campus. I know that you're also going to remember that the board made a courageous move a number of years ago to be one-to-one with our technology and not everybody accepted that as what should happen at that time. When the pandemic came in March, when everything changed, we were already positioned well because our 3rd through 12th grade students already had technology. We could already start delivering lessons to them from their home. The current board also took a courageous step, and that is to invest the money to make sure that our pre-K 4-year-olds have the technology, are set through 2nd grade, those children that had technology but it was left at school, so they weren't one-to-one. But the board made a courageous move to say, we're going to invest the money to make sure that every child has an opportunity, that it wasn't just in devices, it was about families that did not have connectivity.
Right.
And investing in those hotspots, which we recognize do have some challenges, but it allows every home to have the opportunity to see what their teacher is offering, and for parents to have access to the great resources that are on our website regarding applications that their children are expected to use, all kinds in Spanish and in English, where parents can access all kinds of opportunity to see how they can use the technology provided by the district to help their children.
Yes, and Linda, how many have chosen to meet in person, and then how many remotely?
We, as of last Friday, we had just over 15,000 that were at home learning virtually. Just over 13,000 are at school every day and attending class face-to-face with their teacher.
And therein lies the double work for the teachers.
Yes, it's really, about a 60-40 split. So yeah, pretty much every teacher has 2 groups of kids that they're serving every day. We do have a few situations where it's all virtual, just because of the students in that classroom. But for the most part, teachers are teaching both ways every day.
And that's remarkable.
It is remarkable. It was, for all the things that I never saw coming, the challenge that was about to be put on our teaching staff, it is really overwhelming.
It is. Now, let's talk about something that happens every year, the GPISD experience.
Great, thank you for that. The GPISD experience is basically a shopping experience, if you will, for our parents, because they know what their children's interests are, they know what their children think they want to do when they get older, and we have an opportunity for them to visit every school. This year, the 10th annual experience is going to be virtual, and it's going to be on January the 9th. That's when we're going to begin. And parents can register for that. They can begin looking at every school. Every school is preparing for this and creating their own look at their school. So we're looking forward to it. Even though it will be virtual, we're looking forward to it. It may be another opportunity that we see ourselves getting better. So we're looking forward to the experience on January 9th.
Maybe you can reach even more people
Exactly.
that way.
I hope so.
Yes, and where do they go to register?
They can go to our website, and they'll see a link. It's actually the first thing that comes up on the webpage is click here to get information on the GPISD experience.
That is exciting. And another thing that you do annually that is so very special to so many,
Yes.
especially me because I have a connection with the Lifeline for Families, and I know that Dr. Susan Simpson had a heart for kids and the homeless kids in Grand Prairie, and she actually got us started with that, with the counselors as well. But tell us about the event that's coming up.
We're good. We've become really good at drive-through events this year. We do celebrations, we feed people, we do all sorts of things through drive-through. And you're right, I remember many times, Dr. Hull, that was one of the things that was so dear to her, and it is very dear to me, and I welcome that I've gotten to be involved in Lifeline this year. It is such an honor because Lifeline takes care of our children and our children's families. And so we're going to continue with Soups On for Love, and it's going to be a drive-through event, and we're looking forward to it. We're in the planning phases. It's going to be February the 12th.
February 12th.
So the things that Lifeline does for our families will continue, and I'm looking forward to that event as well.
Well, it has been such a pleasure
Thank you.
having you today and getting all this good information for our citizens and
Thank you.
viewers. And we do appreciate everything you do and all the educators. Please pass that on to them, that they are so appreciated in so many ways for all that they are doing.
I absolutely will, and it's been my honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the opportunity.
And we'll be right back. We're so glad to have our next guest, Matthew Lowe from Asia Times Square. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Georgia. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and we know with the new year, you have some big plans for Asia Times Square.
Yes, obviously because of COVID,
Yes.
a lot of stuff. We're planning to host a very big event, but due to COVID, we're going to have to downscale it significantly, and depending on where the cases are towards the end of January, we're going to decide on whether to host it, do it, or not do it, and at what scale. But obviously, Lunar New Year is a huge, important holiday for our Asian community, and we want to celebrate with our community, whether it be virtually or in person. But it's a significant holiday, and we cannot forget that.
Oh, it is. It's been a wonderful tradition. I know I've gotten to go for the past 7 years
Yes.
as a council representative, and then I got to go a couple of years prior to that with my mother. So
Yes.
it's always been so much fun, and we always look forward to that event.
Right. Well, you know, our mission at Asia Times Square is preserving tradition and promoting culture, and that's what it's all about. I think when we're able to host such an important holiday, welcoming the entire community, the mainstream, to come and celebrate with us, I think by doing so, we can replace some of the ignorance with acceptance and tolerance, and I think that will make everybody, our society, a much better place.
Yes, and you always do such a great job of
Thank you.
focusing on that. We appreciate you for that. Now, Matthew, if we do get to have some kind of celebration, will it be indoors or outdoors, or where will we have
Yes,
it?
so this year is going to be quite different compared to previous year. I think it's going to be scaled down significantly, like I said earlier, and we're going to host the entire event outdoor. I think with COVID, we want to celebrate responsibly. You know, the last thing I want to do is to put Asia Times Square and the city of Grand Prairie in a negative light. And so we want to celebrate it responsibly. We're going to do it outdoor. We may have to limit the number of attendants and what have you. But we'll just have to wait and see for now, because we just don't know what kind of cases, number of cases is going to be towards the end of January.
Yes, that's true. Now, your outdoor facility is so nice now
Thank you.
because of those beautiful improvements. Tell us what we can expect to see out there.
Right. So we spent a lot of money, thanks with this partnership with the City of Grand Prairie. We spent a lot of money renovating our parking lot. We call it the outdoor plaza.
Yes.
Right. We have a 350 square inch outdoor TV that we're going to be able to utilize and show, play movies and what have you. We have a beautiful plaza where we have shade sails. We have an unbelievably biggest zodiac clock. I don't think you can find that clock anywhere in the U.S. It's a big zodiac clock, 24 hours clock, and it shows different signs of the year.
It's
and so,
beautiful.
yes, and this year we will be celebrating the Lunar New Year, Year of the Ox, which is the metal ox. So the Lunar New Year day is February the 12th, but we are going to celebrate it on February the 6th and 7th, 13th and 14th. Again, I want to reiterate, it's kind of up in the air depending on, you know, where we're staying with the COVID cases.
Yes. At any rate, when they come out there, whether it's for Lunar New Year or before or after, you have 4 new exciting places in your food court, don't you?
Yes, we do. So Beard Papa is a very well-known franchise originated in Japan. They opened up. Matcha is opening up. Omakase is a sushi place that opened up, and Sakari and Apsara. We have a lot of exciting new restaurants opening up at Asia Town Square.
Yes. So it's going to be great and a celebration, one way or the other, right?
Yes,
Matthew?
one way or the other. And if anything, our 13th and 14th will be the 2 days that we're going to light up the firecrackers.
Oh,
so
great.
that's always a very exciting time for us.
Yes, what a fun event that will be. We'll be looking forward to February at Asia Times Square.
Yes, and I wish everybody, you know, with the new year now, we're welcoming year 2021, so it can't be any worse than what we've been experiencing in 2020, but better days are coming ahead of us.
Yes, I'm counting on that as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Matthew, for being here. We appreciate you and all that you and your family and Asia Times Square does for the city of Grand Prairie.
Well, thank you very much, Georgia. You know how much I love you and your mom. You guys have always welcomed us with open arms, and I want to thank you and the city for that.
Well, thank you, Matthew. We
Thank you.
appreciate you. And thank you for joining us today. And as always, it's happening in Grand Prairie.